Hey folks, Mother's Day, and that is a day, man, that I just look forward to every year, to be quite honest. When you're married to a woman like I am, who has given me just such beautiful kids. I mean, we have, we've got 9. We've got 2 granddaughters now with us. Our first 5 are out of the house. They are on their own, 3 boys, 2 girls. I have my 17-year-old Jetty still at home, and Mama usually tries to take care of that. We've got all the little girls, 5 little girls there with the 2 granddaughters at the house. And I don't know how she does it. And over the years, she's been able to homeschool before homeschooling was cool. Or I don't know how cool it is for some folks, but before it was mandatory. And also write somewhere between 30 and 40 books, 4 bestsellers. It's what I've always coined as a Proverbs 31 woman. She's just a great gal, couldn't trade her. My own mom, put up with me and my little brother for all these years. So it's just gonna be a great weekend, man. Celebrate and hug on your mom. But I wanna look at something. I was gonna pop a sponsor. I'm not gonna do that. We're just gonna talk about this. I don't want to offend any of our sponsors talking about conspiracy theories, because for all I know, they believe them. And and I'll be honest. Sometimes I don't know what's a conspiracy theory and what is the truth. Is what the government's telling us sometimes, is that a conspiracy theory, or is it what the pseudo scientific world's telling us is a conspiracy theory? But I want to dig a little deeper this morning, because I'm on my way to do a podcast on faith and business with just a great friend of mine. So I'm going to do his podcast. But on the way over there, let's talk about this for a second, because we've seen we've seen so many of these. We've seen the couple of doctors out of Bakerfield. We've seen some really crazy stuff out there that I don't know where it came from. Bill Gates is the Antichrist, and a bunch of CEOs are going to be killed off, and we've seen it all. And now we've got the planned demic, which is soon to be, I believe, from the due diligence I've done, is to be a documentary, maybe a new book that's coming out. And when I look at all of this, it causes me to look at the last 3.5, almost 4 years now. And for us to say, okay, we've seen a lot of potential conspiracy theories. There's I don't know how many that surround the current administration, from Russia Gate to Ukrainian Gate to all these other gates that are out there. I mean, it's no wonder Bill Gates is in the news all the time. But you've got all this stuff that we see from the political arena. And it's not just the Democrats. You've got the RNC and the DNC that are constantly putting out all of these, what I've now coined as to somewhat a conspiracy theory. I want to hone in on the word theory, okay? Until you have the science behind something, it's a theory. Until you have the math behind something, it's a theory. You've got to be able to come to a finite conclusion, or at least come within the realm of probability that something is true before you see it stop being a theory. That, or else you say it so many times that people start believing it. So we know that we have all these theories that come out in politics. We see theories that come out in science. To some degree, we even see theories that come out in religion. So when we get into this pandemic, and I start looking at what's the common factor on all this, I think 2 major common denominators. One is our quest for knowledge, our quest for finite answers, if you will. We're constantly looking for finite answers to situations. One of the big ones, and I don't want y'all to get turned off because Troy's talking religion, but when you look at the theory of Darwinism on evolution, it's 151 years old, and it's a theory. Now, when you look at the Christian side of this, or creationalism, there are people that will debate this, that will say, well, Troy, creationalism is 2, 3, 4, 5, 10,000 years old. Those are theories that are acceptable theories. And I'm being very loose with the word theory when it comes to creationalism, but I want to use this as an example. And then when you move forward into the common political arena, we've seen conspiracy theories. I don't know, I'm 56, so I'm pretty sure for 56 years, it's either big oil is causing the wars, or it's the president that's in office is lying to us and covering up something, or we see Watergate, which was, one of those. So we see those, and now we see throughout current history that every time there's a major scientific, natural, whatever you want to call it, a man-made biological virus that seems to spread across the world, there are constant conspiracies coming out. We've seen this with SARS. We've seen it with mouth and hoof disease. We've seen it with the swine flu. Goes on and on. The common denominator still through all of this is people are seeking answers. People want the knowledge of what is true, what isn't. The dilemma is very few people use the first principle of logic. You can study this in detail. I have. Comes from Aristotle, the Renaissance. It's really the beginning, I guess you could say, of the I don't know what it was, humanistic, socialistic type of let's dig deep, go into some eras. And when you look at what Aristotle was doing, and you look at the fact that these principles have withheld the dawn of time, when you start taking a logical approach to finding an answer, it doesn't mean that all the time your conclusion is going to be correct. And here's why I say that. Facts change. Either you don't have enough facts, the facts were wrong, you're having to you find new facts out, so the new facts start coming in. So when you use first principles, you're lining up your facts. As I put on the Facebook wall yesterday about pandemic, I said, everybody's seen the pandemic video. I'm not going to put it up, but here's a pretty solid response to the pandemic video, which is a trailer to the new documentary that's going to come out, and very well done from a creative standpoint. I think that's what people need to understand. From the creative standpoint, it rates right up there with The Secret. If you remember at the turn of the century, The Secret came out. The Law of Attraction, worldwide, phenomenal creativity to all that, made people mega millions of dollars. And I believe in some of these cases, that's what we're seeing now. Now, behind every conspiracy theory that I have studied, from secret societies to the pandemics, there's always an ounce of truth to this. Every one of these conspiracy theories have for the most part, not the really whacked out ones like the world's flat. Did you know the world's flat? Okay, I'm talking about ones that really pick up steam like this. There's always an ounce of truth to this. So when I started looking at the pandemic and I started writing down, okay, what is going on? You'll notice this is just one small area that the answers aren't there. And understand, that's the other thing. They create they'll be into a sentence and then they shift. So the doctor that's on there is talking about how she had a 5-year gag order. But then right after that, she says, I couldn't talk on social media. But yet she says that when she did this, she blends it into 1984 with Fauci and HIV. We didn't even have social media in the 80s, the 90s. Didn't come around till like middle of the 21st century. So when you start saying, okay, that doesn't line up, okay, that doesn't line up, okay, that doesn't line up, you start to realize, okay, there's a lot of loose ends in the conspiracy theories that are there. So before you just go out of your way to believe every conspiracy theory, because they sound good, because you're driven by emotions, you have fear, you have the need of uncertainty, but yet you have a need for certainty. You want to know, is this legit? What is it? This I mean, because everything right now is man-made. We need to realize that. Okay, and I'm not talking about the virus. I'm talking about we have a man-made recession, we have a man-made layoff, we have a man-made pandemonium that's going on worldwide. Okay, now, do you want to believe that all the world powers got together at the G12 and they decided, hey, let's just shut down the world for a few months, give everybody a vacation. We've all made a lot of money. It's a good economy. We'll give all the people in our countries the money for them to stay at home. That's a conspiracy theory, and you can believe that, and it's somewhat true. I put all the facts out there. And now somebody could run with that and say, oh my gosh, this is what's going to happen. Now that really has happened. We had a man-made, everybody went into a guideline, everybody went into a quarantine, and now we're going to systematically open the countries all back up again, and just, it's like a big turbine engine getting ready to turn, and all of a sudden the electricity comes back on, the power's back up, everybody's working, and everybody's getting filthy rich again. That's another conspiracy theory that's there. So as you guys are looking at the internet, as you're bleeding through all of these conspiracy theories that are out here, as you're trying to figure out on your own what is real and what isn't, get out a notebook. And before you get into any of the conspiracy theories, you don't need to go get a college course on this, but you can you can look on Google. I actually think Wikipedia's probably got a good article on this. Aristotle's first principles. Just look them all up. And you can find the first principle of logic, the first principle of conclusion, first principle of worldviews. You start to realize how to use first principles in coming to a finite conclusion. You start to learn, okay, that question that's being asked, or that question that you have, may not even be a question that's a logical question to ask. I'm not gonna rabbit trail too much again, but one that I hear all the time from people, and it's not for this podcast. Not for this podcast. Listen to me. This is the big one. Hey, if God can do anything, can God make a rock so big that he can't lift it? On the surface, that seems like a logical question. Could also seem like a question that could tie a person in a corner if they're trying to defend their faith. However, there's a lot of problems with the question, because you have infinite situations, you got finite situations. It's pretty complex, but yet it sounds on the surface like it's a easy question. It'd be no different than me saying, I need you to prove to me that evolution is not a theory after 151 years. Can't do it. So you need to understand first principles and not be driven in a crowd or a herd mentality. You don't want to be driven by your own emotions, whether that's fear, anxiety, curiosity. I mean, not all emotions are negative, but you've got to be able to understand what's going on. Because if you don't, and I've seen this happen already on social media. You can have some pretty smart folks. They know how to go out and create big business. They know how to create beautiful cash flows. They know how to go out and preach. They're wonderful mothers. They're wonderful fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts, and uncles. And they get into these conspiracy theories deeply without doing any due diligence. They don't start to realize, okay, wait a minute. This whole theory looks stupid, but this one nugget, I'm going to go dig into that and find out what that is. That's how you end up doing it right. If you don't do it, if all you're doing is letting the emotions run wild, then you're really going to look foolish when this is all over. And I believe that if you're in business, if you're in leadership at a church, at a school, any of this stuff, that one side or the other is going to use it against you. Not only that, a buddy of mine in business and in social media, Tony Rush brought up something the other day that I thought was very, it was very solid. And we don't, Tony'd be the first to tell you, we really don't agree on a lot of stuff politically, but we both love this country. We both love our communities. We want to see stuff that's happening right. And he brought up the fact that if we're not careful, we will start to be the vigilantes. We will be we will let our fear, we will let our emotions take over, to where all of a sudden we're deciding who's right and who's wrong, who should be shot and who shouldn't, who should be quarantined and who shouldn't. Those are the things that are the scary part, and that's what we don't want to jump into. We want to use common sense, like we've been using since we decided, hey, let's go and break away from Great Britain and start a country. I'm not saying that everything we've done in those 400 and some odd years that we've been here, and that goes back past the revolution. Revolution's only been 200, almost 250 years. But we landed in America, for you that don't know your history, over 400 years ago. And we've done some pretty stupid stuff since then. We've hurt a lot of people. And the reason we've hurt a lot of people is literally because of this conspiracy theory. Oh my gosh, those savages out west. We've got to bring in the Indian Act. We're going to take away all the Indians and put them on reservation, including the 5 civil tribes that were in the South and back east. Had homes, had dressed like you and I did, had cities, had jobs, had churches, had governments, and they shipped them off too. A lot of conspiracy theories. Hey, if we kill off all the buffaloes, then the Indians, the savages, will starve to death, and we can herd them that way. I mean, this goes on and on. I can show you with the Irish, the Asians. It doesn't matter. I'm not telling you we haven't made mistakes. What I'm saying is, if this is the 21st century and everybody's saying we're smarter than we've ever been, then we need to use first principles to come to conclusions before we just jump the gun. Be that the government or be that we the people in the field. So give that some thought as you go into the weekend. You got some time. You're starting to read some of the new stuff. I saw today I got some new videos in, so it looks like I'm going to have some new conspiracy theories over the weekend. Always be digging for the facts and let the facts guide you to the truth. Remember, facts can change, so you don't want to jump the gun on your conclusion, but you want to put enough facts together to be able to come up with a legitimate conclusion. Okay, this looks like what's going on. When you do that, you slow down, you don't get wacky out there, you don't take the law into your own hands. That's what Tony was talking about the other day, and I thought it was so good. We have to take and look at facts. We don't look at emotions. We don't look at hysteria. We don't look at pandemonium. And if you're one of these people that say, well, I just don't trust all these people in Washington. Heck, I don't trust people in Washington. But when they're actually smarter than me, I think at least we do is we kind of check it out a little bit. You know, hey, I don't like this Dr. Fauci. I heard he has the patents on the HIV drugs. Well, I'm not big on using government money and then letting individuals have the patents. I mean, that seems like it should be we the people. However, it looks like over the years, a lot of people's lives have been saved because of this HIV stuff. So if these guys are that smart, if these guys can dig in and do that, then obviously they're going to be able to maybe help out on this virus thing. If they come out with a vaccine, am I going to take it? Probably not. But there are people that will need to take it, because if they don't, the fear of what could happen to them will drive them so freaking emotionally upside down that they'll die as something else anyway. So again, I'm going to shut down because we're going to go do this podcast. But I want you guys to seriously think about this. Get out of the emotional state that you're in. And it's not easy to do, trust me. But start using some first principles. Start looking at logic. Start really digging deep. And all y'all folks that, I mean, I know there's a lot of people don't believe in Jesus, don't do the praying thing, you don't have any religion at all. Look, I'm cool with that. Go drink a beer, take a bourbon, do something like that. But if you believe in God, then just take some time and pray, man. And I don't mean, oh God, give me the answers today. I'm saying, hey man, can you give me some peace in this thing? I don't have a clue what's going on. You know, just give me some guidance, give me some peace. Because I'm going to tell you what, there's some religious whack jobs out there right now that have got their own freaking conspiracy theories going on. So take time to do the due diligence. Don't just jump in a herd mentality. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Guys, have a great morning, and maybe we'll see you this afternoon, or we definitely will see you tomorrow because we got some update on some of that direct selling news. Big announcement just came out on Herbalife that I think is awesome. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. So, hey guys, have a great morning.